Here we are, at the end of all things. 30 reviews in a single month. They said it couldn't be done, but I did it, somehow. But I gotta be honest with you, I really wasn't sure what I was gonna do for the last video. In the past, I usually have some idea of what the big finale is gonna be, but for this marathon, the number of options has been a little bit overwhelming to say the least. So I decided that instead of doing some big ROM hack, I'm going to be talking about a small handful of random smaller ROM hacks that have either been requested or I found in my own travels that I don't think I could have made a full video out of. Some of these are ones that I've been wanting to do for a while, and others are ones that kinda just snuck up on me. I'm sorry that this couldn't be a big climactic ROM hack finale with some top secret final game that I had in my back pocket the whole time, but always remember, if I find something interesting, or something interesting is brought to my attention, I can always talk about it outside of the marathons. So in case you're worried that you've missed your chance, like it's too late to ask me to review something, it's never too late. Not to mention I'll be doing this again at Christmas time. I hope. And before I get into it, I want to give a big thank you to the developers of all the games that I've already spoken about, and of course the games that I'm speaking about today, and you, the viewer. And this absolutely includes all the new subscribers that joined in the last couple of weeks. It is a huge honor to be able to welcome you to the Beano Hotel. Please enjoy your stay. Now let's get to the games. First off, let's talk Mario Souls. Now you may have picked up on this over the course of the marathon, but I'm kind of a Dark Souls fan. But that wasn't always the case. As a matter of fact, that was a relatively recent development in my life. I thought maybe it was just a phase after playing through Elden Ring, but after playing through Dark Souls, I realized that it wasn't a phase. I know what I am. So naturally I thought, wait a minute, why hasn't anybody made a Mario 64 ROM hack of Dark Souls? And the answer is simple, they did. Mario Souls is a super brief but also very funny ROM hack where Mario is tasked with crossing this treacherous dungeon, which makes the actual Dark Souls look like, well, Super Mario 64. The gimmick with this one is that you cannot jump, instead you only get a dodge roll that launches you forward, and before you ask, yes, it does in fact have iframes, you can roll right through a boulder if you want, but only as long as your fatigue level is at 0. This seems like an attempt to recreate the stamina meter from the original game. Just like the real Dark Souls, it is incredibly obtuse for somebody who hasn't played it before, but you can get the hang of it if you try. Bonfires mark the checkpoints as usual, and the animations on the fire are actually pretty smooth, which is not something I associate with Mario 64. Let the flames guide you. The image of Mario dressed like a little knight running around in his helmet and armor while dodging these extremely dangerous obstacles is an image I find hilarious on a primal level. This is a very tiny, jokey mod that can be beaten in like 5 minutes, but it feels like it came from a place of genuine love for the source material. The NPC at the beginning gives you a super long dialogue box that could have easily been lifted straight from the original game. There was no big boss fight at the end, sadly, but I feel like the concept of Mario Dark Souls has some potential. I don't know exactly how it would work, but it has to work somehow. Because as somebody who likes Dark Souls, it is my solemn duty to want every single game to be Dark Souls. And when every game is Dark Souls, none of them will be. There's also Dark Souls 64 version 1.01, which took a slightly different approach. I wasn't very good at this one. Up next, there's Bup 64. This was actually recommended to me. Now I gotta warn you, this one's actually a little spooky. It starts out looking like a regular Mario 64 mod, but at the end of the first level, a toad ambushes you and drops you into the middle of the woods, where you have to find 7 Bup pages, and this Bup monstrosity is chasing you the entire time. Every page you pick up, it gets faster until you're frantically running around this big stupid map scouring for the last paper. If it's not already obvious, this is an homage to Slender the 8 Pages, but just to cover their influences, they only make you collect 7. After that, you are transported to the secret factory run by these Shy Guy Toad cultists who believe that you are the chosen one. They assign you to be, you're not gonna believe this, they assign you to be a security guard at the night shift of a factory where you are locked in a cramped room and have to fend off these twisted Bup creatures that are all trying to kill you. 5 Nights at Bup. You gotta wind up the music box and fend off the enemies with your flashlight until 6 AM. Although there is an undercurrent of comedy to this game, the horror elements are surprisingly potent. It's a brief game that only really has 2 short episodes, 3 if you count the beginning, with the only real issue being the difficulty. Ironically, this game was way harder than Mario Souls, at least for me. The Slender chapter will take you 58 tries, and the FNAF chapter can feel like a crapshoot, but at the same time, it helps to heighten the drama and urgency of the situation. Overall, this one's honestly really cool. All they really need to do is rebalance the difficulty. Up next, we have Samus Goes to the Fridge for a Glass of Milk. This is the first ROM hack of Metroid Fusion that I played. This was actually requested to me some time ago during the Christmas marathon. The story is incredible. Samus is awakened at 2 AM and assigned the task of grabbing a glass of milk from the fridge. Along the way, she awakens this hell beast and has to kick its ass. This is a 4-minute hack with a very funny premise, but was supposedly made to show off some advancements in Metroid Fusion ROM hacking. Admittedly, I don't think I've ever played the vanilla game, but I'm assuming that it didn't have the song Nobody Told Me About Id from Doom. And it also sounds pretty good. And finally, we have Banjo-Kazooie Fort Fun. This is a short Banjo-Kazooie ROM hack that came out a while ago, and with a name like Fort Fun, how could you not play it? Well, the gimmick of this hack is that it's a troll hack. Now, I have played a number of ROM hacks in my time that felt trollish. Usually though, they weren't actually trying to be troll hacks. This game, on the other hand, knows exactly what it is and doesn't try to hide it. This is a game that is designed for the express purpose of trolling the player. There is an element of hilarity to hacks like this that can be difficult to replicate. It's the type of game where the comedy part of it actually resonates ludonarratively. It's part of the gameplay, instead of just being the characters cracking jokes. The first thing that happens in this game is Boss Boombox starts talking your ear off for 3 hours, and if you try to skip it by using the L+R+B code, you explode and it kills you on the spot, which is the funniest shit in the world. Invisible platforms will block you from jumping and kill you. Hurting enemies will also hurt you. Grill Champas will come out of the wall instead of the actual grate where they're supposed to. This Dunk of Doom shit turns the water into stone when you try to dive into it. I'm pretty sure that's a Pink Panther sketch. There's one part of the game with quicksand that kills you, but then they change it on a dime such that the quicksand is now safe and the stone kills you. You hate it, but you love it because it keeps you on your toes and you have to really pay attention to what's going on. Getting acquainted with the troll factor is a spiritual endeavor. If I had to compare it to anything, it would probably be Cat Mario. That's what it's like, a Banjo-Kazooie version of Cat Mario. You know what, screw it. While I'm here, how about I review Cat Mario while I'm at it? The gimmick of this game is that it's Super Mario Bros, except you play as a little cat and then... Alright, I'm done playing fan games. And that concludes our very first summer ROM hack fan game marathon. It's always bittersweet when these things come to a close. Despite all the writing and editing it took, it was a lot of fun to check out all these fan-generated experiences. These guys are seriously passionate and dedicated game makers, and it is a privilege to be able to play these games and lift them up. I hope that you found something you really liked during this marathon, and if you recommended something that I didn't get around to this time, keep in mind, there will always be another marathon. Of course, there is also the chance that I can make it a standalone video if it grabs me, so the point is, don't give up. But this has been a very fun journey, and I am so glad that you could join me on my 30-day fan game extravaganza. And I guess what I'm really trying to say is, thank you so much for watching my videos.
Hey, you really good. See you next time. See you next time. See you next time.
But don't say H2.